My argument is very simple, that whatever the supposedly Islamic banks are doing is exactly riba. Okay. There is absolutely no difference between commercial banking and Islamic banking. I have to tell you something, that the government of Pakistan does not understand that flour comes from wheat. Look at your favorite subject, electricity. Has the federal government done a good job there?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, how can you do a worse job, really? Let the pumps go on strike. Only the people of Pakistan are paying a lot more in taxes. So we've actually doubled the taxes, really. So the government really has the consumers by the neck.
Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of All Things Money, and we have our all-time favorite guest, the former Federal Minister of Finance, Miftah Ismail, with us. Miftah, how are you today?
Thank you very much, I'm very well.
So what's happening in the country?
That depends on where you're focusing. If you're focusing on what is mistakenly called peripheries, then some very troubled news are coming from 3 of the 6 provinces. If you're focusing on the economy, then nothing good is happening, but nothing bad is happening either. If you focus on politics, nothing much is happening at all. So it depends on what you focus on.
So let's say you and I always have a conversation about NFC and how the transfers need to adjust a bit because it's not sustainable anymore. More recently, there has been some kind of a clawback mechanism where about ₹1 trillion will be clawed back from the provinces. Do you think this is a step in the right direction or not?
Given that the government failed to reform the NFC award and come up with the next NFC award, which I think now will be the 12th NFC award, and given that this award, which is not at all suitable to Pakistan, has been going on for 15 years, this I think probably is the best thing that they could have done. So in that sense, that's the right step. But also we have to consider that this $1 trillion clawback will only happen if FBR reaches to a target of 15 trillion. If the FBR does not meet its target, then for every rupee that FBR does not that falls short of the target, 60 paisas will be deducted from the clawback. So, and it would be a very optimistic man perhaps today to think that FBR will reach its target, given that FBR has missed the last target by ₹1 trillion.
So essentially what you're saying is the clawback may never happen unless there is some recovery, higher tax growth, so on and so forth.
Clawback probably to the tune of 400-500 billion will happen, but not more than that.
All right. So how would you, let's say the next award will be the 12th NFC award. All things considered, how should that be designed?
So there are many design issues. It's not just the problem with allocation. It's actually, the thing is that you don't really want to starve the provinces of money. That's not the objective. But there are some very fundamental mistakes we've made. One is that there is a political cost to raising taxes. Okay, when the government, the finance minister, the prime minister imposes taxes, he or she get a lot of flack. The problem is that the provinces actually don't get any flack or any cost of, they don't have any political cost of raising taxes, but they get free money. So then they do all these crazy things like buying 4 Mercedes cars for ₹1 billion or airplanes, or the cost of this pipeline that was K4 pipeline has gone up from 40 billion to 400 billion because the money is no object to these provincial governments. So that's one thing. The second is that NFC is like a pipeline. It's like a circuit. Okay, so the money first goes from the public. The average Pakistani pays into the taxes. That goes to the federal government. The federal government then keeps 40% and gives 60% to the provinces. And there the pipeline ends in Pakistan. The circuit has to be completed. The money then has to go to the local government, and the local government then has to spend money on local populations. That is not happening. So that's why people are getting poorer. And what I consider the NFC is a resource match or resource competition between the people of Pakistan on the one side and federal and provincial governments on the other side. what people sort of say is that it's actually a resource competition between the federal and provincial government. That's not true. Federal government is not starved of money. It spends still more than the inflation. So federal government is growing faster than inflation. Provincial governments are growing much, much faster than inflation. Only the people of Pakistan are paying a lot more in taxes. Just from 2021-22, when the total tax intake was 7,500 billion, last year the tax intake was 14,500 billion. So we've actually doubled the taxes, really, with nothing to show for it. No improvement in public service, things like that. So we need to rethink the NFC. We need to rethink how provinces finance their own expenses, how provinces must transfer 80% of resources to local government, and how federal government's budget deficit has to be balanced. So my idea is that the first 12,000 billion that the federal government raises, 60% of that should go to the provinces. And after that, the federal government should keep 20% of whatever, 80% of whatever it makes. So that way, much of the money that the marginal tax will go to the federal government and its deficit will go down. Then the second idea, simultaneously with the first idea, concurrently, is that the money that the provincial government gets, 80% of that money should go to the locality, 70 to 80% of the money should go to local governments.
So how does that work out? Now you've got a provincial government infrastructure. Primary heads are mainly development, infrastructure, education, health. How does that devolve? What devolves to the local government from that?
Health should obviously be devolved to the local government. Policing should be devolved to the local government. Education definitely should be devolved to the local government and then to public-private partnership or a voucher system. Infrastructure should be devolved, intra-provincial infrastructure should be with the provinces, but intra-district province and intra-division infrastructure like roads that are built from, let's say, Lalukhet to Nazmabad or from Shadra to, wherever, in Lahore. Those should be done by the Lahore government, but roads that connect Lahore to, let's say, Gujranwala should obviously be done by the provincial government. So, it's a very natural order of things, that the idea of government, and this is our party, Awam Pakistan, has 7, governing principles. One of the principles of this is that the best government is at the lowest possible level. So what you can do at the provincial level, you must not do at the federal level. What you can do at the local level, you must not do at the provincial level. So these things, police, health, education, infrastructure, zoning, building control, those things are naturally done at the local level. It's done at the local level around the world. Why should Pakistan be different?
So how do we develop those institutions? Or what needs to be done to develop the capacity to start doing that? Because one argument someone can say is, okay, the capacity at local government doesn't exist. What next?
If there is no local government, obviously the capacity will not exist. Some of that capacity will automatically be transferred. The provincial employees will be transferred to city governments, right? District government, division government. So that's very easy. Second is that, what is the capacity at the provincial level right now, or at the federal level for that matter? 330 kids, or more than 300 kids, were infected by HIV in Tonsa Sharif in South Punjab, okay, because they were using used needles. This is 1 year after the Punjab government had said we are focusing on this and we will not let this happen, but it happened. And then Punjab government typically lied about this and said no, it did not happen, etc., but it happened. Sindh government right now sitting in Karachi in Walika Hospital, 120 people were infected by AIDS because the blood was either not screened or used needles were used. So what capacity are we talking about? 60% of kids in Sindh and 50% across Pakistan are not able to read at their class level or grade level. So what capacity are we talking about? 39% of kids in Pakistan who are between the ages of 5 and 16 are out of school. So what capacity are we talking about? What have the provinces done with all the money that we've given them? So I don't see the point really of this. There is no capacity in the local government. There are no local government, but there is no capacity either in the federal government or the provincial governments. Look at your favorite subject, electricity. Has federal government done a good job there?
Yeah.
Seriously, how can you do a worse job, really?
Yeah, that's true.
So what capacity are we talking about?
That makes sense. So from the NFC moving towards fuel right now, or petrol prices, diesel prices, and we've seen there has been evolution of how price determination is done rather than price discovery, that's done. Now we're talking about essentially setting prices on a daily level, daily basis. How does that sound to you?
So, let me praise the government once.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Okay, when they went to the daily pricing, they went on a Friday, which was the end of the period.
Yeah.
They didn't do this in the middle of the period and gave extra profits to oil marketing companies, which is what they did on the 7th of March, when in the middle of the period they raised prices by 55 rupees. That was a gift to the oil companies from the people of Pakistan, that the government of Pakistan gave. That was a raid on our pockets, for oil marketing companies. This time at least they did it at the end of the period and not in the middle of the period, so that's good. If they had done it on Tuesday and Wednesday, I would have been critical. You can do this daily, you can do this weekly, you can do this monthly. In equilibrium, it will be the same thing. What you need to do is not do this at all. Okay? Let the market decide prices. You and I know that oil marketing companies and oil refineries lie hugely, and do extra charge of IFEM.
Yeah.
Okay. They show that there is a lot more sale in Gilgit than there is, there is a lot. They show a lot less sale in Karachi when there is, or Multan, and so they lie about this and they make money from this. There is no reason why oil prices should be the same across Pakistan. There is no reason why we should be giving fixed margins to petrol pumps across Pakistan. Most petrol pumps around the world actually make money from their convenience stores and petrol sales. It's just a way to bring customers in, but we are giving extra huge profits to them. There is no way why we should be guaranteeing oil marketing companies profits, which we do. So their margins also. And then the government does weird things. So I think they should completely deregulate it, let the market decide its prices, but at the same time, the largest single oil marketing company in Pakistan is government owned, and right now we don't make enough diesel and petrol in Pakistan for our own consumption. We have to import a lot.
Yeah.
Some time back there was a shortage of diesel, because of which around the world, and since we were giving imported prices, refinery made huge monies. If you know that there was one politician in Pakistan who kept saying this, for the first month the government of Pakistan kept denying his
sitting right across me.
Okay. After 1 month they agreed, and they did
the amended formula.
They agreed to what I had said, and then the Prime Minister took notice and said कि ये refinery ने 75 अरब रुपए कैसे कमा लिए? Under your watch, buddy. You should have listened to Miftah Ismail the first time. But the point is, not just Miftah Ismail, other people were also saying it. Ali Khizr is one of them. The point is that they should privatize, but PSO should make sure that it brings enough imported product into Pakistan so that the refineries are not able to price gouge, or the oil marketing companies are not able to take the people of Pakistan for a ride. But if you let it go, in due course you will see enough oil marketing companies will come and bring so much product that there will not be price gouging. But in the first 6 months, the government has to be careful. PSO has to play a proactive role in ensuring that
enough product is available. So
at a reasonable price.
So that is the thing. IFM is a major issue.
And then you will also see refineries coming into Pakistan without asking for an arm and a leg, which right now they're asking for.
Because they know they can sell their product. So again, IFM is an issue. It's distortionary, just like our favorite subject, power, where you fix a price across the country and there is no reason why everyone should pay the same price for an electron. So IFM, it's distortionary. Why should petrol in Karachi be more the same price when, let's say, it's somewhere else, much farther away? You can always, and this, due to this distortion, there are some people, some entities that make more money at the cost of the consumer.
Across Pakistan, at the cost of consumers across
Pakistan. At the cost of consumer. Same for fixed OMC margin and fixed pump margins. Now, whenever this happens, when you say there needs to be deregulation, the pumps will go on a strike. The distributor will go on a strike, the tankers will go on a strike, so much so that the pipeline, which white oil pipeline, its utilization is barely even 40% right now, which makes absolutely no sense. How do you work out the political economy of this?
Let the pumps go on strike. How many days? Okay, there are many groups within the pump lobby also, by the way. There are some more powerful groups, some less powerful groups. Even the last time I remember when I was a minister, and the Prime Minister sent some people to Karachi to deal with the pump association and all that stuff. Really, I thought, let them go on strike. Let's see how many days they can go on a strike. There will be one pump owner in Karachi who will open his pump and sell a lot of petrol. Then there will be one pump owner in Lahore, one in Faisalabad, then a second in Faisalabad, then a third in Faisalabad. These things, you shouldn't be that scared of strikes. If the writ of the government is so limited that we are worried about every strike, oil marketing companies strike, you take away their license. There is a license we give. We are not asking them to sell at a loss. We are asking them to get the price that they are supposed to get in the market. If they can, and let's just be very honest that 30% of diesel sold in Pakistan comes from Iran.
Yeah, that's another.
And not all of this is sold in Balochistan. Balochistan doesn't even consume 5% of the
primarily
diesel. So a lot of these petrol pumps in Karachi, in Sindh, in Punjab, and elsewhere are making considerable amounts of profit. So I have nothing against petrol pump owners. I want them to make good money. I want even them to sell CNG, etc. I want people to be able to offer and make money from their businesses. But I don't think that we should be worried about strikes.
Yeah.
If this government is so scared of strikes from refineries and marketing companies and petrol pumps, then really they should get some other profession.
So I think that's an interesting point here regarding oil that comes informally through Iran. With a deregulated market, ideally you should have more competition on the diesel side at this point, and the diesel price should literally come crashing down.
It will come down a little bit. Again, nobody will lose money. It will reflect the average.
It will reflect the market clearing price. It will market clearing price, whatever that is.
Weighted average cost of diesel. There are two things I want to mention here. One, of course, the diesel that comes from the port or comes out of the refinery, whether in Multan or Karachi. Those every liter of that diesel, the government of Pakistan gets 70-80 rupees of levy, plus 5 rupees of climate levy and 20% of custom duty. So that's 100 rupee tax on every liter of diesel right now. There is obviously no tax on diesel coming from Balochistan. There is a way we can actually do this, that we can say that if you move from the border district to any of the central districts, or if the product is moved out of Balochistan, then the government can levy 100 rupee or 80 rupee or 70 rupees, some tax, and that's possibly done. So we're not even running into trouble with sanctions. Fine, we don't ask where the diesel in Balochistan came from, but the minute it leaves Balochistan, we'll charge 60-80 rupees. So there is some level playing field. Okay, you don't want to give too much break to the smugglers. Okay. But at this point, let's just because
they're traders at this point.
Yeah, traders at this point. So so I would put a tax on hub before it comes to Karachi. I would put a tax in Dera Jamali and all that before it goes to Sindh and South Punjab. So I would do that. Okay. Yeah. And let the market go on. Let the market figure out, what is the right price for diesel, right price for petrol. Let there be price discovery. Seriously, one of the biggest problems in Pakistan is that we set administrative prices and not the correct resource price, not the correct price for efficient resource allocation. That's the problem.
It's price setting rather than price discovery.
Yes.
All right, coming on that, PDL. Do you think that's distortionary? Because it often becomes a way through which the government uses it as a lever to smoothen out its tax collection. Do you think that's the right approach?
So, products like cigarettes, petroleum products,
with inelastic demand,
they are required by the people, so they are willing to pay whatever you ask. Like if for instance cancer medication is a very inelastically demanded or very crucially demanded by the people, so you can jack up the prices of those things. Similarly, pricing of if you for instance need petrol to drive your car or to diesel to drive your engines or your tube well, you will buy them no matter the government puts the price of 100 rupees more or 200 rupees more. So the government really has the consumers by the neck, and the government takes advantage of that. There is some justification for that you should only tax those things which are really demanded by the consumers. But then you also have to see who is the consumer. Okay. If 60% of your petrol is used by motorcycle riders who can only afford 1 liter a day, and they are paying a 1/3 of their petrol price in taxes, are you being fair or are you being regressive? So the government has to strike a balance. Right now, for instance, if you buy expensive leather shoes in Pakistan, okay, from Pakistan, you pay 18% tax.
Yeah.
If you buy a really nice, bag, which some of our politicians buy, expensive bags, thousands and thousands of dollars, or watches, thousands and thousands of dollars, you pay 18% sales tax. But if you buy petrol, you pay about 36% levy, twice as much. So is this fair?
It's regressive. So and again, how do we control this? I mean, the whole point of a petroleum development levy or a climate levy is essentially to raise funds to develop either the infrastructure for this or to develop some kind of climate adaptation capacity. So if this is not even in the spirit of it, what does one do?
The idea should be that there should be a sales tax rates in Pakistan. There is 18%.
But
so
then
the levy
that
should
is
be
distributed, right? That is the problem there. The federal doesn't get it.
So the levy should. So the thing is that because of the deficiencies of the NFC award, you are actually relying on levy, and what you doing is that because the NFC award is so set up so that the provinces are not taxing the richest agriculturist, and the federal government is not taxing the richest real estate and property dealers, so then we end up taxing the poorest Pakistanis who have to go on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Okay, that is
basically what's happening.
That is basically upside down how an equitable economic system should be. So a levy should be approximately 18%. So so right now the 100 rupee levy should go to about 50 rupees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever the sales tax is.
Whatever the sales tax is. Yeah. And at the same time, and in my formula, levy will be part of the federal revenue that is distributed.
So just like sales tax. Then.
Just like sales. But like I said, 60% for the first 12,000, 20% afterwards.
Whatever is collected, 50% of the first 12,000.
First 12,000, 60%, 50%. So you can make a deal. 60%.
So you do not game it by bringing in additional federal levy.
Yeah.
FEDs or whatever.
FEDs are part of the divisible pool.
All right. So on price discovery, another commodity we were just talking about right before is wheat, and there has been movement in wheat. How is that working out, and what do you think needs to be done there? Because this is something that happens every year, and we try to solve it.
So we have to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years ago. Okay. No. Before I tell this, I have to tell you something, that the government of Pakistan does not understand that flour comes from wheat.
Yeah.
So the government of Pakistan was always happy to raise the prices of wheat so that farmers can get good prices for wheat. But the government of Pakistan also wants to have a very low price of atta flour so that the consumers can get low price atta. Those two objectives are absolutely
in conflict with one another. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But the government doesn't understand the conflict.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, they decided that they're going to increase the price of wheat to 4,000 rupees in Sindh and 3,900 rupees per mond, which is 40 kgs in Punjab. At the same time, there was some shortage of wheat, so the price of flour had already gone to 150 rupees. Muslim League was about to have an election, or had just had an election. It was not popular at all. So Muslim League decided that it is going to lie to the governors, to the growers of Punjab, and not buy from them. So whereas you had promised them at the time of sowing the wheat that you will buy this for 3,900 rupees per mond, in the end you lied to them. You did not buy from them, and you left them at the mercy of the market, without even getting the market ready to do this, and farmers lost their shirt. The next year again, the Muslim League said that we will not buy anything from anybody. The government said we will not buy anything. There is no guaranteed price. People can sell what they want to whoever they want. But they did not do any alternate mechanism where all this wheat is going to be stored, who's going to put in the money to store this wheat, etc., etc. Again, last year the prices were very low at the time farmers were selling. Farmers were selling wheat for about 50 rupees a kilo. Later on, the wheat prices went to 110 rupees a kilo. So the stockists, arthis, investors made 50%, 100% profit on their investments. This year, the farmers did not grow as much wheat. They did not use as much fertilizer, they did not use as much DAP, and so there is the wheat crop is lower.
Okay.
We supposedly have wheat, and in Sindh government we have supposedly Pasco wheat, but those are 3-year-old wheat. Either wheat has been infected with pests and or infected with theft. And so there is not as much wheat as the government claims that there is. That, some wheat has also gone bad, become powdery, etc., etc. So there is a shortage of wheat right now. Farmers were selling it for 70, 80 rupees a kilo. Right now the price of wheat is 118 rupees a kilo. Okay. This is in Sindh and KP, and Balochistan. Punjab is controlling a little bit, so it's about 100 rupees a kilo in Punjab. The price of atta in Sindh now, they've said that it should not be more than 125, but it's not sustainable, because if the wheat is for 118 and 20% of the wheat goes into bran, the wheat prices will go up, and atta prices will go up to 140, 150 very soon. The government has to decide when it's going to import. It will have to import. Wheat will continue to go up. The government has left the market, which is fine. It really should leave the market, but then the government again right now in Sindh and Punjab, they're stopping trucks. There's they are raiding trucks, and there's ban on interprovincial movement of wheat. All of this is very weird. You are disturbing the market for no reason at all. On the one hand, you're not letting wheat being sold from farm to the mills. On the other hand, you want the prices to come down. So if the government were to completely leave, the prices will go down, and equilibrium, resource allocation will be reached.
So what do you mean by government completely leaving?
I mean, they should not put these restrictions against interprovincial and inter-district movement.
But isn't that a provincial matter?
No, but the thing is that, look, this is a country, this is a federal country, this is not a confederation. If petrol, for instance, is sold at the same price, and if gas that is coming from Sindh goes to Punjab, if water that is coming from KP goes to Sindh, then wheat should be going from Shikarpur to Karachi, or Karachi to Abbottabad, or Lahore to Charsadda, wherever. So that's one thing. But the other thing is that rather than giving, but the Punjab government has invested money into this. So this is their argument that, look, we've given interest-free loans to our favorite people, 7 or 8 people, who have bought millions and millions of rupees worth of, billions and billions of rupees worth of wheat, and we are going to make sure that those people will make money, because we have given them loans, interest-free loans, we have given them warehouses and all that stuff. Eventually the government really should get out of this and let banks finance this. There is no reason why we should be giving them interest subsidies, and there is no reason why we should give them the storages. If the government has storages, it can rent storages to whoever. But the government really should get out of this business.
All right.
And when the time of harvest comes, when the time of next harvest comes, okay, you should let the farmers export wheat. That way, farmers will not necessarily export wheat, but they will get a market price.
They will get a price signal.
Yes. And so what you do is that you are tying the hands of our farmers behind their back. Once you tie their hands behind their back, next year they don't produce as much. So let them export for 1 year. If they think, what would happen is that the wheat will not be exported, the price in Pakistan will become same as international price. That's what you want.
I mean, currently I would say price in Pakistan would be higher than international.
Much higher.
Much
right
higher,
now,
right? So wheat
is 90 rupees a kilo. If I import wheat right now in Karachi, my cost will be less than 90 rupees. But my cost is 118 rupees.
That is a fundamental problem where is the cost of production too high?
No, because the farmers did not sell it for 90 rupees. They were selling for 70 rupees.
Okay.
You were not allowing them to sell export at the time. You have to let the exports.
You have to open the export market so that the price actually converges to whatever the clearing rate is.
Yes. And in the end, look, the Pakistani wheat prices cannot be out of sync with world prices.
Yeah.
So our farmers also have to become more productive, but they are reasonably productive. Let them compete with the rest of the world.
Let them compete with the rest.
But don't stop them from exporting if that's what they can do.
Well, I mean, you're stopping them from sending it through provinces at this point.
So, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
If a Punjab farmer can get a good price in Karachi, he should be allowed to sell it. But if a Punjab farmer can get a good price in Bahrain and Bangladesh, you should be allowed to sell it.
Okay, this makes sense. So, all right. So, I think a lot of conversation about price discovery. There is another price that is set for the cost of money, that's essentially interest rates. And interest rates, as we know, are not applicable in Sharia compliant banking or Islamic banking. How does that work? You wrote an excellent piece a few weeks back on Islamic banking. What was that all about?
So riba is banned in Quran Majid, and the Islamic scholars define riba as ordinary nominal interest. I have no reason to challenge their thinking. I'm not an expert on Islamic jurisprudence, so if Mufti Taqi Usmani and other learned scholars say that riba is interest, I accept that. So I'm not arguing that riba is not interest as some do. I think riba is interest because that's what the Islamic scholars tell us. My argument is very simple, that whatever the supposedly Islamic banks are doing is exactly riba. Okay. There is absolutely no difference between commercial banking and Islamic banking. Just the Arabic name. In General Zia's time, we came up with a new word called markup. Rather than calling interest, we say markup. The State Bank doesn't set interest rates, it sets policy rate.
Policy rate.
Okay.
Or a repo rate or something.
Whatever, okay, but so none of our banks charge interest, we charge markup, the conventional banks, and the Islamic bank, which are really Sharia both compatible banks, they charge you, they come up with Arabic names for Islamic, for financial products. So they will say istisna financing or muharaba financing or diminishing muharaba financing or musharika financing. These are just Arabic names for English terms. There is nothing Islamic about Islamic banking. If interest is haram, which I think it is in Islam, and so if what conventional banking are doing is haram banking, then so are so-called Islamic banks. There is no difference, except for the fact that the Islamic banking people are also lying about it. They are also being hypocritical.
So essentially what we're saying is, I mean, we agree on the fact that nominal interest rates are haram. And
that's what the scholars tell us.
That's what the scholars tell us, and everyone essentially were saying whatever is on interest rate is haram. But in, Islamic bank essentially say there is profit and loss sharing.
That's a lie. There is no profit and loss sharing. Tell me one transaction in 25 years of Islamic banking where a company is not making enough profits, has not defaulted, but it's not making enough profit, and the Islamic bank has made less money. Here's what happens. Suppose you get Islamic banking finance, okay, istisna financing or diminishing muharaba financing, whatever it's called. It's a very nice Arabic names, okay. And suppose on the 28th of some month, State Bank raises the policy rate by 1%. It's 11.5 right now. Let's say they make it 12.5. What would happen on the 1st of August? Every Islamic bank will send you a new letter that from now onwards our profit rate has increased by 1%. So देखो यार अल्लाह से मजाक ना करो, जो है वो बोल दो सच, ठीक है. So there were 3 articles written after I wrote this Dawn column. Two were written by, one was my good friend Irfan M. Saab, who was the founder of Islamic banking in Pakistan, Mizan Bank also. Another by Imran Taqi Usmani Saab, Dr. Imran Taqi Usmani, Mufti Taqi Usmani's son, also a scholar. They both argued that Islamic banking is actually Islamic. I disagree with that completely. And in fact, they wrote they did not engage my arguments as such, When they say that profit and losses are fixed as a ratio, that's not true, because every time interest rates increases, Islamic profit increase, and to say that we are only using this as a reference is also not true, because reference is one time set, not every time interest rate increases, your profit increases. They also give less profit to the depositors.
Yeah.
Okay, and the hypocrisy is such that when the State Bank says to you that you can charge 21% because that's our policy rate, they're all ready to charge 21% because that's their policy rate. But when the State Bank says to them that you have to pay 17, 18% to your depositors because the policy rate is so high, you say, no, you cannot fix it. So on the one side, to give money to the depositors or to give munafa or profit or interest to the depositors, then they are very, very Islamic. You know, कि नहीं हम नहीं दे सकते ये इस्लाम के खिलाफ हो जाएगा. But to charge fixed rates, they're okay. So that's hypocrisy, obviously, conflict of interest. The third article that was written by a Bangladeshi professor at the University of New Orleans, who's done a PhD in this, Islamic finance, and he said essentially that, look, what Miftah was saying is correct, that within this financial system, you are trying to impose an Islamic banking system which is not possible. You need to either go through a venture capital model or profit model. And there is benefit in this model. See, what happens is, suppose there are two companies. One is very profitable and one is not so profitable. Right now, the banks charge the same interest to both of them. So bank has no greater incentive to give money to the more profitable company. But under an Islamic banking system, Islamic system, financial system, because the banks will be sharing the profit, more money will be, more resources will be given to companies which are more profitable, which add greater value. Innovators will get more money. You know, dumb companies will get less money. Right now, गधे और घोड़ों को एक जैसा आपने treat किया हुआ है. So, I mean, there is benefit to Islamic system. We are not even getting those benefits.
Essentially, it's more of a venture-based model where profit and loss sharing actually works, and this is again coming to price discovery. Interest rate is also price setting of whatever the cost of money is, and it's not really price discovery. But when you do not set the rates and follow true principles, you can effectively do discovery of whatever the interest rate needs to be. So for something, a high growth company can maybe get just more capital because you can get higher profit from it, rather than just reallocating it to government securities.
And the company's risk is also hedged, that if the market goes bad and the profits are less, it actually pays less. So I mean, like in Pakistan, for instance, when the interest rates were 21%, a lot of big companies went bankrupt. Very large steel mills in Pakistan, good companies, well-run companies, went bankrupt. Okay, Amreli Steel is one, you know, Agha Steel, whatever, and closed down. People lost jobs because they had to pay 21% interest. You know, that was just not sustainable in a market where there is no development taking place. There is not much steel selling. In an Islamic system, those companies would not have gone under because the banks would have understood that, you know, they are not making profit. It's like a venture capital model. So there is a Islamic finance has a model. I think that Islamic bankers don't trust the Islamic financial model. Otherwise, they could go towards an Islamic financial model. I understand that once you start 25 years ago, you start with the existing model, chalo come up with Arabic names, stuff like that, and slowly you do a transition. But there is no desire to do a transition. They are happy with making more money than conventional banks.
So it's a shareholder problem.
It's a management issue, yes. I mean, I mean, you know, you're making more money, you know, because you're selling, you know.
By lending to the government?
No, not just by lending to the government. You're getting depositors money who are willing to forego poor people, widows, or others, you know, who are willing to forego interest because you're not calling it interest. So you exploit them by giving them less profits.
So it's information asymmetry essentially.
It's not even information asymmetry because you're actually misguiding them, and you're saying that what you're doing is Islamic banking when it is not.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so on Islamic banking, again, there needs to be a lot more transition that needs to happen for any kind of profit loss sharing to actually work out.
Again, the state bank should not be so scared of this, these people, the lobby of Islamic banking, and just apply the same laws to them and tell them that, you know, you should transition in 10 years, otherwise you cannot call it an Islamic bank when it is not an Islamic bank.
That makes sense. All right, so again, we've talked about wheat, we talked about fuel, power. What next in power do you say in terms of electrons? Because to give you full context where I'm coming from, essentially, we know, you and I know, we engage on a regular basis, more decentralized power is coming up. There's solar, batteries will kill everyone and just take everyone's lunch and so on and so forth. But we're still doing more mega projects. And a lot more fixed cost is going to come up in 2033, 34, 35. How do you see all of that evolving?
I see this is that if you are in a hole, the one thing you should stop doing is digging more.
Digging a bigger hole, deeper hole.
Right now, for instance, in the month of June, the government of Pakistan sold 131,343 gigawatt hours. To make this power at 100% efficiency, you need only 18,000 megawatts of capacity. To sell it at 80% efficiency, you need
20,000,
25,000,
25,000.
whatever. Okay, there's some solar and wind, so maybe the efficiency is less than that. But in any case, right now, according to NEPRA, we have 39,000 megawatts of dependable capacity. So one thing the government should not do is absolutely not invest any more in power projects. Absolutely not. There should be a complete ban on the government owning any more power projects, because what is happening is that the government is saying that after you invest, the fixed cost will actually go up. So what's the point? You should be investing to make the fixed cost go down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the government should absolutely not make the same mistake it has made from 2013 and onwards, and should not invest in more power. If you want water reservoir,
Yes.
build a Diabir Basha water reservoir, spend $150 million, which is all it takes to make provisions for installation of turbines later on if you need this. And if some private sector wants to install turbine, let there be a bidding and do this. But for now, the government has no business going into any more power plants. Even if, for instance, if Atomic Energy Commission of Pakistan wants to set up a nuclear power plant at Chashma 5, let them do it, but don't give them any guarantees of buying and selling or offtake. The government should be getting out of the business of signing energy purchase agreements. Absolutely.
So essentially, government is the only buyer of electricity.
The government should stop buying electricity. Okay, we are not going to buy electricity, and let private sector set up electricity if they want to sell it, and you just concentrate on privatizing the discos, and eventually you will be having a wholesale market if you stop buying any more power. For now, what they need to do is they need to actually come up with two-part tariffs. I've written about this in some newspaper. You also
worked on it.
You've worked on it, and just shift to two-part tariffs. And if you're not able to if you don't have the political will to or the political room or space to set up to charge fixed costs, especially from poorer consumers, of people who buy 300 units or less, then you should forego the 1,000 billion rupees that the finance ministry gives every year to the power ministry. That should be used towards that. Essentially, you have 1,700 billion rupees of fixed cost.
Yeah.
Okay, the government should say, look, we are going to give you 1,000 billion rupees, just you collect 700 from the industry and from affluent consumers and commercial meters. Forget about middle class and poor people, don't charge them any fixed cost, and bring the price of power to 18, 19 rupees, which covers all your variable cost, and that's it. I mean, it's not that difficult, really. I mean, economics has known this for many, many years. Unfortunately, the government of Pakistan is not very competent.
But again, the problem remains, how do you fund those dams or reservoirs?
You don't.
So
not from the consumer.
Not from the consumer. See, that's the point. How do you do it then?
If you really need water, which you do, and if there is a genuine need for water, then you charge water consumers for water. You don't charge electricity consumers for water. Again, this is a price distortion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are two ways to fund dams. One is out of general budget. Not that they do. I mean, they give like 20, 30 billion. I mean, there is an 8,000 billion throw forward in the planning ministry.
Yeah.
80% of this is just numbers. We should get rid of this. The planning ministry should not be doing any more projects and should not be doing nalis in Lahore and gutters in Karachi, should only be doing dams and large projects, and just give 100 billion rupees a year. If that 200 billion rupees a year, that's not difficult for the government to give out of the budget. And if you really need, then you ask the provinces for some money, because the provinces will get water, and they charge Abiana, and from that Abiana you can either increase the Abiana or you can use that money from the provinces for building of the dam.
So that, again, the more less price distortion.
Less price distortion, yes.
All right, this makes sense. All right, thank you, Miftah.
Thank you.
Like always, very fascinating and enlightening.
Thank you.
This episode eventually became more of a price discovery and anything else, and as we figured, just like there's distortion everywhere.
Okay. There's distortion everywhere, which is what keeping Pakistan from progressing and developing. And that's why we've been trailing the rest of the world for the last 20 years.
Yeah, thank you. All right, this is it for another episode. Until next time, and goodbye.